Hello friends, welcome to Help Me Coder, the channel which talks about technology and helps the coder community out there. And in part 6 of this video series, we are going to look into input parameters and dynamic content. So input parameters are the values that you define at the start of the flow, which then later gets used in the actions that you're doing inside the flow. This provides reusability in the first place, and then secondly, it allows you to not hard code in the flow. This means that you define input parameters at the triggering point of the flow. So what other advantage does it provide? This makes your flow interactive, which means your flow is a user driven. Whenever you run your flow, whenever your flow is triggered, it comes up with asking for an input from the user, and when you provide that user, the flow runs. This also means it is a reusable flow, means every time you run a flow you can change your values. You don't have to create separate flows for different kind of input parameters that you are receiving. This also makes your flow adaptable because you can adjust the behavior of the flow based on the input parameters that you are receiving. So if you receive something as input parameter as urgent, then instead of sending it via email, you can ask your flow to send a Teams alert. Okay, so now let's do a brainstorm on when to use the input parameters. There are many reasons when you can use input parameters. The first thing is when you are triggering the flow manually. So there are cases when you trigger flow manually, whether you are doing from the Power Automate itself or you have a button click event on the Power Apps, so then you can run the triggers manually. Other thing that you can think of is the personalized actions based on user input. So there are flows where you want to have different kind of actions based on the supplied data, then you can use this. Other thing is flow is coming or being called from different services. Maybe it is called from Power Apps or it is called from any web API which supplies that data to you. So based on these data, you can do certain actions. So later we'll be seeing a demo on the input parameters in combination with the dynamic content. This is an important point because dynamic content is something which allows your data to be available from previous step in your whole flow. So your flow can consist of many steps and many actions. So one action can refer to some data in your previous action. So that is done using the dynamic content. This makes your flow dynamic, which then makes sure that you don't need to hard code in your flow. So imagine you are going to send an email to somebody, then instead of hard coding email, you can use dynamic parameters like the screenshot that we have shown over here. You can change the name based on dynamically. You can change what is the pending amount, what is the due date. So every person will have a different pending amount, different due date. So the emails are being sent dynamically to different people based on these dynamic parameters that are coming from the previous step. So now we'll quickly do a demo on the input parameter and dynamic content. So for input parameter, what we'll be doing is we'll be manually triggering a flow and we'll be collecting some information on every new flow run. We'll collect some information, and based on those inputs that we collect, we will be dynamically sending emails to all those people. So we will be collecting the name, the email, the due date, pending amount. So these are all the different values that we are going to collect when we start the flow, and then we'll be sending out emails by different emails to different people based on these values dynamically. Let's go into the flow and let's see how it is done. So head over to make.powerautomate where we will be creating our new flow, and this time we are going to create an instant cloud flow. So we will be using a manual triggering a flow, and the name of the flow will call it as input trigger and dynamic content. Input trigger and dynamic content. Then we'll click on create a flow. Once you are here in the manual triggering a flow, you can click on add an input, and we are going to take couple of inputs. First thing that we want to take is the name of the person. So for this we'll be using the text field. So this is the name. Then we will be choosing another input, and this time we will be choosing number. We can say amount pending. This is a number field. Then we will also check when is the amount pending. So you can just check due date, which is a date field this time. Then we will also choose is urgent, because what we were trying to do is when it is urgent we want to send a Teams reminder as well. We will not show you here that, but just to show you this field type, I am adding it over here. Then I have name, I have amount pending, then the important thing, the email address. So the email address of the person would be added over. So these are some of the things that we are going to take as input from the user. So once these inputs are taken, then we want to do is send an email. So we will say Outlook, and we will use this connector as Outlook v2, send an email v2. And when we send this email, it will ask you few things. So let me make my screen little smaller. So it will ask you the name of the person, and so here we are not going to hard code the value, we are making it dynamic. So what we'll do is we go to this setting gear icon and use dynamic content. Now when you use dynamic content, you can select the value from the previous option, which is the email. So you can click on email part over here. So when you see, this is the email. So imagine when you click on this icon, which is this icon, and then when you click on this icon, you will not see all the values straight away. So you have to click on see more. So when you see more, you will see the email icon over here. When you scroll down, this is the email. Then subject of the email. So subject, I can just type it down. Please provide the loaned amount. Then we can just place we can come up with some this email body, and in this body also we want to have this as dynamic content of this body. So instead of hi, we don't have any name, we can dynamically take the name of the person. So based on the previous values, so this one is coming from the previous, which is manual triggering a flow, we are taking the values from there. We go over here and we just choose name. So this is the icon, remember this icon. And then what is the pending amount? Again, go to this icon, and then you see pending amount, click on see more, and the amount pending is over here. Due date, again go back, see more, and due date is over here, and that's it. So this is how easy it is to do the workflow. I will save this workflow now. So you can click the save button over here, and when you click on save button and when you test this workflow, so let us test this workflow, you can say manual and you say this one, it will ask you to connect. Okay, continue first time. So now see, this is asking you for the inputs, so you have to provide your input. So name I will provide as Hemant, and amount pending I will say 2000, and due date by when it is pending I will say by 10th of this month. Is it urgent? I would say yes. And email address, so I will say Hemant, maybe I will just use this email address, my email address, and that's it. So once I have used it, I will say run flow. So now the flow has successfully run. You can know that the flow, these tick marks are already there. So when the flow was triggered, based on the raw output, if you see, not the raw output, I will show you the output over here. If you see the output, these are the values that were passed, text, number and date, and there are other values like email address and everything. So these values were passed, and then when the send email, we are sending the email was succeeded. So now I have opened my email, and in this email, if you see, I have received this email to me for Hemant. Hi Hemant. So this is a dynamic value that it has taken. Pending amount it has taken dynamically. Due date again it has taken dynamically. So this is how the dynamically you can add the values on your flow. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have learned something new, do help us by clicking the like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel Help Me Coder. We will see you again in the next video in our YouTube series on Power Automate. Thank you.